in your opinion, how might a bank or a payments company, how might its back end be holding it back from growth? Because everyone focuses very much on the front end, they think that's what drives customer growth, but there's still that back end element. And how can your platform at AutoRek, how can that help address these back end challenges to mitigate both financial and operational risk?
It's a great question. And I suppose this is every organization's, thoughts. How do we improve these processes and eradicate these issues in an effective way? I suppose, in my opinion, there's a couple factors to consider here. There is manual intervention, so a lot of FTE count, for example. You can imagine that in times gone by, as an organization is scaling up and really trying to achieve that customer acquisition, they would throw FTE counts in the middle and back office to perform sort of these very mundane tasks. In today's world, however, these are very expensive resource. Most of the time, these organizations want to hire the best, the most qualified individuals, but then they are putting them in roles which is not actually using their abilities. So, effectively using your FTE resource is a point to consider. I've mentioned the interoperability between different systems. Having disparate systems that don't communicate with each other creates a lot more manual work, creates a lot more workflows. It creates a lot more work to be done instead of making sure that these are all communicating effectively. One that is a very important factor, and we've seen a huge migration over to this, is the the ability of cloud, creating scalable infrastructure for these scaling up businesses and these really large enterprise businesses across different geographies. Again, making sure that the cloud provider or the infrastructure that you're using is flexible to meet any changes in those requirements. Compliance, compliance is obviously always one that is at the front of everyone's mind. Regulatory compliance, it's something that you can't get around. You have to make sure that all your resources are driving towards being compliant. At the end of the day, no customer wants to be, trusting their funds with an organization, a payments organization that has been flirting with the regulators' requirements. So, absolutely making sure that you are compliant with the regulators' requirements is a key challenge. And there are a number of new technologies out there, AutoRek being one of those, the automation piece. But there are tons out there, from KYC to reporting to reconciliation. There's tons of new technologies. We speak about AI and machine learning very regularly, and it's about embracing those new technologies, using them to your advantage, but also making sure that it's all done in a controlled environment. And considering all of those challenges, overcoming all of those challenges is ultimately going to drive revenue growth at the end of the day.
When you tie all of these elements together, what is the benefit for the employees of this company? And is there kind of like a talent acquisition element here in play as well? In our previous question, I mentioned how organizations always want to hire the most qualified, the best employees. But if there are very manual, mundane tasks that need to be done, somebody needs to do those. By using a platform like AutoRek, what you're doing is you're taking the need to do those tasks away. You're using your resource effectively. These are very intelligent, highly qualified individuals that you've hired into your business. Using that education and their qualification as effectively as possible through analysis of data rather than manual spreadsheets, as an example. I mean, if you ask anybody that's had to perform any type of task on a spreadsheet, it often is the bane of their existence. And moving to an automated world really just allows them to focus their attention on more value-adding tasks. What does focusing on more value-adding tasks do for the employee? It creates job satisfaction.
it gets you up in the morning. It allows you to know that you're adding value to senior management and even further up into C-suite, that you're actually in some way or another adding to the growth of the organization. So absolutely, when it comes to acquisition of talent, there's a bit of a shift in focus, especially if you have the right systems in place. You don't have to hire people that can spin up a spreadsheet very quickly and maintain that. Again, that will cause a reliance on that particular FTE to stick around, but more focused on experience in using these platforms effectively in terms of analysis and of data.